But yeah, very large penis in my face for a while there.
Welcome to So Bad It's Good. We watched Seagal's belly of the beast.
You know something, Fitz? You ain't nothing but a trailer park bitch.
Oh, Fitch.
Early 2000s, straight to DVD, classic Seagal.
He'd given up on the Hollywood
Well,
and its rules.
Do you
Whether
think he'd
he
given up
gave
on
up,
Hollywood
yeah.
or
I very much was it his decision. That's why Seagal's allowed to sit down, because even if he is sitting down, he can just in seconds. In seconds, Chris.
The movie obviously stars Seagal as Jake Hopper. I haven't written much about the story itself because it's basically Taken.
I'd say it's actually more in depth than Taken.
Would you? Seagal plays an ex-CIA agent, proud father, been out of the game for 10 years. His daughter gets kidnapped in Thailand. Oh, hello. Militia.
How do you know Melissa's there?
And then he goes to save her. That's the whole movie. It is that simple. But you think it's got depth. Explain how you think it's got depth.
I think it's supposed to be deep, but it's not very well written.
What?
Huh? Yeah. There's depth to this, right?
There's lots of depth, yeah. He talked about 9/11 and the Muslims.
Yeah.
There is like government dodginess that is going on both sides.
Okay, relative depth, yes.
Yeah.
I suppose there is, yeah.
There's more to this story than Taken. It's just done way worse.
Way more going on in this Seagal film than we've ever seen in any of the other ones we've done.
As a Seagal film, from what we're used to, it moves along at some kind of pace with some sort of
Like
point.
an actual
Like an
action
actual
film.
Yeah.
Like an actual action film.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, Seagal's doing shit in this.
We were surprised that he was doing as much as he was, and we were quite impressed by that. We were impressed by the fact that it seemed to be sort of have some kind of budget, and then we all got really bored.
It wasn't overly funny, Steven Seagal, and the action scenes were pretty decent.
We open on a woman in a swimming pool, and Seagal is breaking into this place to steal something from the safe.
Yeah. Very sneakily.
He falls, I think it's got to be about 20 foot, and lands silently in a superhero pose.
You trained for that?
He then runs and does this remarkable slide. And I'm sure they just put him on a trolley or something and are just dragging him along.
You don't believe he can make that slide?
I'm not suggesting that Seagal can't do that slide.
Right.
I'm just stating that Seagal almost certainly does not do that slide in this movie.
They had it ready, right, that he was going to go up from one side, right, of that thing, and then he was going to duck down and go the other side of it. I think that was the plan, right?
Yeah.
And he went, oh. Director, man.
I don't like the touching.
Hey, shh. I think I'm going to slide, brother.
And then we find out that his daughter's been kidnapped, and then he goes to Thailand. So that's kind of your setup to say, oh, he knows a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff.
Nothing personal for me. It's all about the girls.
Oh my God.
His acting in this, actually, because he's called upon to do more, he's so bad.
I might not always be here, but you can be with me as long as you want.
It's like a stone, but just the lips talk. Move.
Oh, no!
Gone from praying to the memory of his dead wife to snogging a 17-year-old.
Oh my God. It's a whirlwind romance. I didn't know that he knew that his daughter was kidnapped.
It's Jessica. I'm afraid she's been kidnapped.
His reaction to being told is so like nothing. To be fair, the way the guy's telling it is also very nothing key.
There's no two ways to put this. Jessica and the Winthorpe girl have been kidnapped.
You're kidding.
He reacts almost like someone's come in and just gone, I'm going to take the pins out. Is that right?
You're kidding.
The tagline to this movie is "A father's rage knows no limit."
Because there's no rage at all from him. At all.
There's a character in this called Bryce. And
I don't think there is.
yet there is, my friend.
I do not believe there is a character in this film called Bryce.
Let me talk to Bryce.
Who is the boyfriend of
Oh,
Seagal's
Bryce!
daughter. Oh.
Oh, is Bryce with... Put Bryce on the phone.
Seagal doesn't like Bryce, okay? You can clearly see it through his acting.
Can you?
The daughter makes reference to, my dad's a good guy, like I hope you will be, right? Setting up that he's either going to be a little shitbag and he's going to be responsible for whatever mess she gets in, or there's a redemption arc there and him and Seagal bond in some way.
Because he ends up sort of saving him.
Or you're
somehow.
doing something like you're actually an all right guy, Bryce, or
Yeah.
something like that. They shoot him.
We'll never know if he was a good guy. You actually get more of a story arc with his... I've called him sidekick, because that's essentially what he is. But the character's name is Sunti. He's played by a chap called Byron Mann, who, interestingly, also played Ryu in Street Fighter. The very start of the movie, gets splashed in the face with some water, shoots a lady.
Yeah. He does look like a bad cop.
Yeah, looks like a bad cop because she's holding a young child.
He did the old shoot first, white rise second.
Quits the CIA, stays in Thailand and becomes a Buddhist monk. So he spends 10 years basically trying to atone and repent, for
And
the
he
mistake he's
does.
made.
Until
You're looking very good.
Thank you. Must be the haircut.
And how are your wounds?
Why is he speaking in that voice then?
Because he's speaking to a foreigner.
Seagal comes along and says, hey, buddy, no reason really for me to come and visit you, but
Just
I'm going
wanted
to
to
tell
let
you.
you know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. My daughter's gone missing and I'm looking for her and I've no one's helping me. It's just me on my own.
But don't worry about it because I'm handling it.
You're a monk.
It's fine.
I love that. And I don't want to pressure you, even though I didn't have to come here.
But I'm just going to leave that on the table for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, while I
You
go
know,
speak to your boss.
A
Walk
good
away.
friend would
Yeah.
do something. But you're a monk and, I did save your life.
I'm very, very proud of you. You stay a full monk for 10 years. Really, really wonderful. Then again, I think you're the lucky one. Because your life is simple.
He turns up and goes, of course I'm here to help you. And Seagal's like, no, don't break your monk code, please.
Yeah, don't bring him on code.
And he's like, no, I'm here.
No, I'm here. And he says, okay then, what can you tell me about? And Sunti fucking knows everything. Having been a Buddhist monk for the last 10 years, within, I'd say, tops 30 minutes of taking off and putting back on his scrubby old 90s clothes, he's spoken to pretty much half of Bangkok and has found out everything that Steven needs to know in order to find out what's going on.
He's not a monk no more. I want to talk about the train yard scene. It looks like they've gone to a paintball with a bunch of kids. Like they're just standing in the open holding guns, shooting at random people.
Steven Seagal is a better shot with a handgun at 100 feet than I think he was as a sniper in Sniper Special Ops.
Was that the moment for you?
I was about to say
For
that
me,
of
it was when he was
everything.
on the train track thing and he kicks the side of the wood. Oh no, that's so slow!
Rusty
You get killed in no time doing that.
Do you want us to speed it up in post, Stephen? Or
No, natural.
probably slightly slower than we were expecting?
Do you think I'm putting on weight? Do you think I'm putting on weight? You tell me when they said I was getting fat.
Yeah, of course I was.
I've seen some things on the internet. They say I'm a husband.
A husband?
He goes with Seagal at the end, old Sunti, and he's does his bit, saves the daughter, takes him through, and of course he has to give up his life.
He's been shot just once.
Just once.
Out of what?
Yeah.
It's got to be in the tens of thousands of bullets that get fired in that scene.
Yeah.
He's just been hit once.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a fatal shot.
When his mate dies, does he like say to him like, "I'm sorry, I dragged you into this" or anything?
We did it, Jake.
Yeah, we did.
You fucking pussy.
General Jantapan is the guy who is the big boss at the end that Steven fights. There's a cool scene with the chief of police who's just had a run-in with Steven Seagal. He uses a bow and arrow to shoot the apple out of the man's hand.
Closer to your head!
If this happens again, you will be the apple.
Yes, sir.
They then use the bow and arrow stuff again.
Yeah.
During the climactic scene. Basically, you've got a bow and arrow versus first Steven Seagal with a gun. Fires his bullet.
No.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
Sorry?
You've got General Jantapan with his bow and arrow, and he releases the arrow, right? And you then get a slightly shonky CGI shot of said arrow flying through the air. You then cut to Steven Seagal, who, conveniently, behind him, there is a rack full of swords. There is time in this movie, at the speed at which that arrow is apparently moving, for Seagal to turn around, reach for a large sword, raise it above his head, and then chop the arrow in half.
That is
down.
so impressive.
Brilliant.
Do you think he did that live?
Yeah, obviously.
He's also where you get kind of introduced to this weird spiritual element of the movie. That there is some kind of weird, what would he be, like a shaman or a kind of a
some
witch
kind of
doctor, kind of a voodoo
spiritual
Anyway,
mystic.
they steal one of Steven Seagal's jumpers and they use that jumper to make a voodoo doll.
Could this be the end of Seagal?
Here's hoping.
Seagal's got the upper hand, as he would, because he's Seagal.
He is Seagal.
Cuts to the witch doctor chap, and he starts stabbing said voodoo doll with pins.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we then cut to all of the Buddhist monks, and they are chanting.
Oh yeah, they're trying to counteract.
Yeah, doing like the counter curse.
It's like he's furiously masturbating.
And the voodoo doll suddenly sets fire and wonderful Steven's well again.
Yeah.
And then he takes out General Jantapan.
Millennium Films. Oh, they made other classics such as...
It's directed by a chap called Siu Tung Ching. It's his first English language movie that he'd made. But he's basically a stuntman and action coordinator. One of Jet Li's films, Hero, he was one of the action coordinators or cinematographers on that. So he's actually got quite a good eye for action. But I found a really interesting piece of trivia that basically said the director chose to do all action sequences with his stunt team before Seagal filmed his bits in order to make sure that those bits were satisfactory. And then he would just fit Seagal in. But then Seagal came in and didn't want it filmed the way they designed it to be filmed.
Of course he doesn't.
So apparently the director and his entire stunt team just left the set and said, okay, you finish it. The production team had to convince Steven Seagal that he needed to do it
the way
they had set the action. This is not long before he started that run of like 6 or 7 films with the same director. So I reckon he got to a point where he was like, well, I'm not having this again.
So he wrote this. I'm sure it says writer on there.
What, Seagal?
I think Seagal wrote this, yeah.
You think he wrote it?
Hold on. IMDb. Only the best.
Written by James Townsend. That's why I couldn't find it, because it's not got Seagal's name in it.
Hold on. Okay, so on IMDb, it is written by James Townsend. However, story, uncredited, was Steven Seagal and also Thomas Fenton, uncredited.
Fenton!
Is IMDb anything like Wikipedia, where Steven Seagal can just go on every film he's ever made and just write a fucking writer on that, uncredited?
You might be
I'm
right.
going to say,
You
if
might
it's
be
not
right.
on the DVD, I'm not giving him credit.
She's been kidnapped.
By who?
Well, they're saying the Abu cut off, but I don't think so.
That's not his voice!
I don't honestly believe anybody has ever seen this and enjoys it.
In my search for information, I found this on Amazon, and it had 201 reviews, and 79% of those were 5 stars. And lots of people,
I get it.
Genuinely, lots of people had commented on the fact that it was only £1.
Well, if you're gonna get a satisfying,
Hang on.
If you're
Satis-
gonna,
how are you working the word?
I wouldn't
satis-
put this film on Netflix, which I pay for on a monthly basis, and get more than the value from it. I would not put this on for free.
if you're paying £1 for an hour and a half of entertainment, I'd say that's £1 well spent.
I liked you much better as a bitch.
Nice. Nice.
Do you think this movie was a flop? Do you think this movie was broke even, or do you think it was a success?
I think it made money.
I think it made money because I think that's how they realised they could continue doing this.
Only thing the internet really said on it was that it made its budget back.
What?
This seemed like the start of the decline almost. I do remember being pretty bored by it, apart from some odd highlights. I'm going to give it 1.5.
Jesus, what a throw. To do that,
I know. It worked out,
he
Tom.
does work out.
But if you've got no particular desire to be a completist, then don't bother.
This film's a weird one because it's not the funny I wanted from Seagal, but it's also not boring like Maximum Conviction. Whoa! It's kind of a 2-star for me. It's not a so bad it's good, funny.
No, not
I
really.
wouldn't recommend it in that way.
It's a 2 from me as well. Stick it on with your mates in the background. There is enough stupidness in it to be entertained by it in those moments. It's not going to leave you feeling like you've wasted an hour and a half, but it's also not going to enrich your life in the same way as something truly awful would.
So Belly of the Beast has got 5.5 stars. Well done, Belly Boy. So if you enjoyed watching about Seagal, please watch our other reviews. We've got Kill Switch, we've got Sniper Special Ops. So click on those videos, give us a like, subscribe. We do these out the goodness of our hearts until eventually we can start charging you money. Thank you.
If enough of you like it, we'll start doing merch. You could have Tom's face on a t-shirt.